Hi, this is Dr. Georgia. I hope you find today's message a blessing in your life. We want to make sure that we continue to provide these video messages for you when you can't come to church, or for those of you who live in a different state, or we noticed recently we have a lot of people in even different countries who are tuning in. So if that is you and you can donate to us, we invite you to hit that donate button just below the message here. So thanks so much.
Let me introduce Tama Kieves, an honor graduate of Harvard Law School. She left her practice with a prestigious corporate law firm to write and help others discover and soar in their life's work. She's a nationally best-selling author of This Time I Danced, Creating the Work You Love, Inspired and Unstoppable, Wildly Succeeding in Your Life's Work, and most recently, A Year Without Fear, 365 Days of Magnificence. She's been featured in USA Today and Huffington Post, Forbes, as well as on ABC News, Oprah Radio, and other national media. She's a sought-after speaker and visionary career success and book coach who has helped thousands worldwide to discover, launch, and thrive in the life, calling, and businesses of their dreams. You know, I heard Tama several years ago at Asilomar, and I was inspired, and I got something that I needed from her talk those many years ago, and I can even remember what it was. And that's, you know, a lot of times you come and you hear speakers and you think, boy, they were great. Well, what they say? Well, I don't know, they were just good. They're just good. And you hope things got into your subconscious. Well, that was great. And this morning, and last night rather, when I heard her for the first time, I got another thing that I needed in my life. So I have no doubt that there are going to be things that she's going to say today that will spark your spiritual journey. Will you help me welcome Tama Kieves?
Still all sparked up by that music. Wow! Oh my God, I gotta calm on down now. So I guess I'd like to start off by asking a question, just to settle in. Is it me, or do you think like life has ratcheted up a notch? Hasn't it just ratcheted up a notch?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I think the universe, oh, don't ever be shy about that. I think the universe is saying the grace period is over. You have dreams. You have gifts. You have so much love inside you. You have this extraordinary talent to give the world, and it's time. I think we're living in crazy, inspired times because we are meant to seek what's true, right? And that's what this time is about. So I want to talk about what stops us then from living our message or living our love or taking our dreams to the world, because I believe each and every one of you is a change agent. And I don't care if it's just in your home about being more honest with your spouse, or if it's writing a book or conquering the world or whatever it is, but there's something in you that's calling to you. So what do you think stops us from listening to that inner voice? Because the one thing I know is if you're not listening to your own inner voice, you're listening to somebody else, right? You're listening to the voice of the culture, you're listening to education, you're listening to the media, maybe you're listening to a parent, right? I was listening to my mother. You know, I knew early on that I wanted to write. That was my dream. I took creative writing in high school, and the creative writing teacher was gorgeous. So this was a sign. You know, this was like, okay, this is a sign, you know. So I came home to share this fabulous news with my family that I'd found my calling. But I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, to an Orthodox Jewish family. So if you come home to say, I found my calling, I want to write, nobody says Mazel Tov. You know, nobody. You know, I could have said, I found my calling, I want to sell crack. You know, it would have been the same thing. You know, in my mother's mind, you know, selling your body to the night, selling drugs, and being creative, they're all the same thing. They're all the same people. They're all going to live under the same bridge, you know? So that's what I grew up with, you know? So my mother said something like, you're going to write? You're going to write? You're going to starve, you're going to write. And that was the go for your dreams talk. You know, that was the extent of it, you know? And then my mother, being a reasonable woman, said something like, what, you can't get a job and you'll write on the Sundays, right? And many of us got that same advice, didn't we? Maybe different accent, you know, but same advice. Don't do what you love. Don't do what moves you. Don't do what's secretly whispering to you or speaking to you. Stay safe. Stay practical. Be reasonable, right? And the reason that I speak these days is because I know that the safest thing you're ever going to do in this lifetime is listen to your heart, is listen to your soul. There is a singular genius and a singular God in you. Why would you not listen to that? Right? But I didn't know that at that time, and so I went off to law school, and I got accepted to Harvard Law School, and I graduated with honors from Harvard Law School. And as you might imagine, my mother was very proud, very proud. She was bragging in every synagogue for all she was worth. You know, my little girl, I don't want to tell you. Let me tell you. Again. You know, and you may have had this situation in your life where things look right, you know, to other people, or you're doing what you're supposed to do, but it doesn't feel right. So I was practicing law, I was on partnership track, I had what you're supposed to have, what everybody says is success, and I was feeling empty, and I was feeling scared, and I was feeling miserable, because I kept thinking, oh my God, I have what you're supposed to have, what is wrong with me, right? And I think a lot of times if we're not feeling connected in life, if we feel empty, it's because there's something more and we know it. There's something else calling to us and we know it. And thank God a friend of mine at the time said something amazing to me. He said, you know, think about it. If you've been this successful doing something you don't even love, what could you do with what you love? And that kind of made sense. I thought, wow, you get one life? I want to know what happens if you follow love. I want to know what happens. So I got the guts and I walked out of everything and I thought, you get one life, I want to see what happens. By the way, my mother was not thrilled with this, right? You know, I actually got a job waiting tables. I was doing all kinds of stuff and I got a job waiting tables. I would get this call every week. You're serving nachos? With a Harvard law degree, you're serving nachos? And I'd be like, yeah, and curly fries too, Ma, you know? You know how like when you're living your dreams or you're in transition, you know, people don't always say the right things, right? They don't. She'd always call me up and she'd go, do you even know what Susan Finkenberg is making now? Do I have to tell you? And it's like, no, you don't, you know, so. But again, not everybody knows how to support us or how to love us in this amazing transition. Right? And that's probably why we come to places like this, right? So what I want you to know is that only the safety that is real for you is trusting that inner voice. So I want to read you something real quickly. This is from my second book, Inspired and Unstoppable, Wildly Succeeding in Your Life's Work. And I'm a coach, and I know that a lot of times people feel like, well, I can trust it a little bit, but not all the way. You know, I'll trust it a little bit, but not all the way, right? And so I just want to read this briefly to you. You'd rather play it safe, hedge your bets, trust sweetness only some of the time. But dear one, wild, amazing, visionary people are the new safe. We are agents of invincible faculties, and we are blazing trails of abundance. There is nothing wavy gravy about believing in your wildest dreams. Your inspired inner voice is as real as bunions or a bouillon soup. It's not putting your head in the sand to believe in a higher intelligence than mass consciousness. It's putting your head in the game. Love is the strongest power on the planet. You want results? Trust your inspired self. It's a presence and intelligence that dwarfs everything else. So that's what we're talking about. And I know that I'm a coach, and I coach artists and entrepreneurs and visionaries and career changers and anybody who pays me. And I often get the question of, yeah, but how? You know, I have these dreams or I have this desire, but how do I do it? What are the steps? You know, how do I get from A to B to C to D? And I don't believe that this is a linear path. I believe this is an inspired path. I believe this is a singular path. This is a divine chemistry between you and your soul. And I do believe that we do have one step. And that one step is following what you know now. Right now, there might be something in this moment that's whispering to you. Right now, there might be something nudging to you. And it's a moment-by-moment path. So I tell all my clients in all my workshops, you can't plan an inspired life. You can't plan an inspired life. You can't figure it out. Our minds are small, and they're trying to figure out a path that is beyond the mind, beyond anything we've experienced. That's why it's inspired. It's unimaginable. But it's scary for most of us, right? To really trust that. And for me, it's that moment-by-moment trust. So my best story of this, my best example of this was getting my book published. So when I first left and I thought, I want to write a book, you know, it took me 12 years to write my first book. It took me 12 years to write my first book. Now, I know some of you are thinking, okay, I want the 3 steps. You know, like, get this woman off the stage. Like, I don't got 12 years. I want the 3 easy steps now, you know, whatever. But I always tell people that I think it took 11 years to believe in myself, and 11 years to trust this path, and 11 years to trust in something higher, and 11 years to believe I was worth something and that my dreams meant something, and 1 year to write a book. Right? So I think a lot of us have that experience that maybe you feel like life is, you know, going on and you're not where you want to be, or things are taking so long or taking more time than you thought. We are doing so much more than the linear path. This is a path of healing. This is a path of shifting. This is a path of undoing everything we've ever learned before so that we can be clear and that we can listen to something unheard of before. That's different. It takes a little longer, but it's worth it. You know, so you can't plan an inspired life. So when I first finally finished writing this book of mine, and I didn't have an agent, I didn't have a contract, I didn't have a publisher, I didn't have anything. I just had this dream that I want to write a book, you know? And so when I finally finished after 12 years, I thought, what do I do with this thing? You know, like, how do I get it out there? So I read all kinds of books on publishing, on commercial publishing and self-publishing, and I just all of a sudden kept hearing this inner voice, and it just kept saying, just put it in the river. Just put it in the river. Isn't that beautiful? What the hell does that mean? You're all looking at me blankly. I know you're waiting for me to tell you, right? I'm waiting for you to tell me. I don't know about you, it's like hard enough to hear an inner voice and then it starts talking in metaphors, you know? And I always tell this story, by the way, at different readings, and some readers have suggested that maybe the voice meant put it on Amazon, you know, like I'm just, that was cool, that was cute. But I knew intuitively it meant just self-publish the thing, print it yourself, get it out there some way, somehow. If it's supposed to go somewhere, it's gonna move like a river, right? And so, but that was scary, you know, because I didn't know anything about marketing or distribution or publishing, and then you're putting your own money into it, so it's like, oh great, now it's going the wrong way again, you know, like, but I decided I'd followed that inner voice for so long that I was going to go all the way with it. I wanted to see where it went. And so I decided I would do it. And the second that you decide that you will follow what's inside you, the second you decide that you will follow your heart, your dream, your spirit, the second you decide you'll follow that, you will meet the most judgmental person I just always need to tell you, you've heard of law of attraction? This is law of detraction. They are out there waiting for you. I don't know why, but they're going to be finding you. I always tell people this, right? So I don't know what possessed me to do this, but I went to an ex-boyfriend's house for a Passover dinner. And I sat down next to this woman, and she was my mother on steroids. Not a good situation. All night now, right? She's drinking bad Manischewitz wine all night, right? And she starts grilling me, right? She's like, so you're gonna publish a book, and you know nothing about marketing, and you know nothing about distribution, and you're putting your own money into this? You're very ambitious. For, of course, is code for you're a nut, step away from my kids. And I'm sitting there thinking like, oh my God, what do I tell her? What do I tell her? Do I tell her, I'm gonna put it in a river? What am I gonna do? I'm gonna tell her, I've been listening to an inner voice for 12 years. It's really nice, and I believe, right? The stuff that we teach each other here and that we're actually proud of here, you talk to normal people. It doesn't fly so well, just saying, just so we're clear on that, right? So that whole night, by the way, I don't know if you know anything about the Passover ceremony. It's all about the exodus of the Jews. I finally understood that service for the first time in my life. I finally understood it. I'm like, oh, let my people go. Let my people go. But this is what's going to happen, right? You're going to get inspired, and then you're going to meet somebody, right? So I finally got the guts to self-publish that book, and I put it out there. And it started moving through word of mouth. And it hit the Denver Post bestseller list, and then it hit the business bestseller list. It was amazing. It just started going through word of mouth. I had my very first reading. I had almost 200 people show up at my very first reading. Now, granted, I had begged 199 of them, but they were there. And I was so scared. I'd never really spoken, but my inner voice kicked in and said, did you think I'd mess around? I told you I would take care of you, right? And it's like, oh my God, right? So that happened, but then the most amazing thing happened 4 months after I self-published. I got an email that came out of the blue, literally, and it literally said, your fairy godmother has arrived. Your fairy godmother has arrived. Now, if you got an email like that, you would think it's spam, wouldn't you? I mean, you would think it's going to be Russian girls are waiting for you. It's going to be make her happy tonight. Some money for you in Nairobi. Give us your credit card number. It's just going to be spam, right? But it was actually an email from a vice president of marketing and publicity from Random House. And she wrote to me, and this was my first book, This Time I Dance, and she wrote to me and said, this is the best book I've ever read on finding your calling, and I would love to help you meet a New York publisher. Which, for me was like saying, I would like to introduce you to God. I'm like, okay. And she did. She got it to the president of the publishing company that I had always dreamed of. It was Tarcher, part of Penguin, and they bought the book. And they bought the book exactly the way that it was. They kept the exact writing. I had to change maybe 10 sentences out of the whole book. They kept the exact title. I had designed it in purple. I didn't know what I was doing. I had purple all over. They kept the purple at first. I mean, it was amazing. As an unknown writer, I would never ever have started off there had I followed a conventional path. If I had done everything that everybody else tells you, you need to do this, and you have to do that, and you have to do this, instead of following that genius that's inside you, right? I would never have ended up there. And so that's what I mean when I say that you can't plan an inspired life, right? How can you plan that? How can you plan, I'm going to have a meltdown for 12 years, some other woman's going to have a meltdown at the end of 12 years, she's going to find my book, we're going to hook up, and that's my business plan. That's what I got, right? What bank is going to go, oh yeah, that sounds really great to us, Miss Kieves. Excellent idea. We'll be signing up on that. Right? But it's the courage to know that you can't plan that inspired life, right? So I used to always end with that story because it's a great story and it's my best story. But I want to end with what I call a Wednesday morning story. And by that I mean, you know how like you come to a place like this and you get pumped up and you get revved up again and you believe and you're connected. And I don't know if you're like me, but like for me, my mind, when it's not connecting, starts wandering off on its own, and by Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's not doing so hot. You know, it's like I'm left to my own devices. It's not so pretty, right? And so that to me is what a spiritual path is. You are meant to be really inspired and connected and alive, and then you are meant to lose it. That is the spiritual path. I don't think you're doing it wrong when that happens. That's what happens. We get connected and inspired, then we lose it. We get connected and inspired, then we lose it. The work is about choosing again. And it's about choosing what you knew when you were inspired. Because what you knew about yourself when you were inspired, that's what's real about you. And everything else is fear. Right? Only what we know when we're inspired, that's what's true. That's why it feels so good, right? So this is many years ago. Before I'd ever written anything and before I was a speaker, but I was dreaming of what I wanted to be, that I wanted to be a speaker someday or write a book or whatever. And I was shopping in a thrift store because that's where all great speakers will shop. And so I'm shopping in a thrift store and I find my destiny on the rack. It's this 3-piece purple silk pantsuit. And I think, oh my God, that is exactly what a famous speaker would wear. I must have it. Right? Of course, this is the 80s, mind you. So the shoulder pads are out to here. Right? So just so you know. And so if speaking didn't work out, then playing for the NFL might. You know. So I buy this outfit with this dream in mind of who I am and what I'm going to do. Right? I hang it up. And it's hanging in my closet for years because nobody calls me, right? I get rejection after rejection after rejection of the book, of speaking. I mean, nobody's calling me or whatever. And that outfit, like, you know, ends up in the back of the closet. And every time I go in the closet now, I kind of wince when I see it, you know. And you may have an experience like this. You may have like that gym membership that you were going to do, you know, like this is the year I'm going to get fit, damn it, you know, and just that, you know, or the dating site that you were going to join, or the job thing you were going to do, or, you know, or how you were going to visit more often with your grandkids, or whatever it was, right? Whatever those dreams were. And then we see a symbol of it or a sign of it and we haven't done it and we kind of feel bad about ourselves. And maybe bad about ourselves because we dared to dream, because we dared to say we wanted something. So anyway, this outfit would like start moaning to me in the closet, you know. Every time I looked at it, it would start going, loser, you loser. You were going to be a speaker. You know, you watched Oprah one too many times. You thought you could do anything, you know. And so, you know, I would just feel bad, and it would just, you know, be there. And finally, many years later, I finally did something I'm very, very proud of. I let go of the outfit. It was in its little plastic case, and I never, ever once wore it. I never once, ever wore it. I gave it back to Goodwill from whence it came. And, but the thing I'm really, really proud of, that I'm so proud of for that younger self of mine, she gave up on the outfit, but she did not give up on the dream. She gave up on the timing, but she did not give up on the desire. She gave up on the circumstances, on how it should happen and what should happen, right? But she didn't give up on wanting it and believing. And so that's what I'm going to ask us to do as a community in this moment, if we can, in our hearts. It's like, what's your purple pantsuit? You know, like, what's the thing in your life that you're tempted to give up on or write off, or it's never going to happen for you, or what the heck, right? And can we decide to choose again? Can we in this moment, like, just decide to choose again? For me, when I wrote Inspired and Unstoppable, it wasn't about, like, be unstoppable, like Tony Robbins, walk on fire, be unstoppable. It wasn't that. It was more, in my lifetime, I will not be the one who stops myself. right? Life may be harder, there might be adversity, there may be challenges, but I will not be the one who stops myself. I will choose again and again and again. Because every time you choose again, for me, you are choosing your spirit. You are choosing your God. You are giving yourself that other chance, right? So that's maybe what we're going to be holding today. By the way, I have come to believe so infinitely of a God and love and mercy, because there's no way that my God of love and mercy would have ever allowed me to become famous and wear an outfit with shoulder pads out to here. That could never, ever happen in my God's world. My God has good taste. That would not be happening. So that's made me come to believe too. But I want to end with one of my favorite quotes. It's attributed to Jesus from the Gnostics, and it says, "If you bring forth that which is within you, that which is within you will save you. If you do not bring forth that which is within you, that which is within you will destroy you." It's a little gift of guilt from my people. Thank you so much. Thank you.